Man, that's so cool that nowadays people do like a ceremony and people, you know, like it's like an emotional moment that all the group get together. Is awesome. Man, back in my days, I gotta tell you how I got my black belt, right? I was a brown belt for, I think, let me try to remember, right around 2 years and a little bit more, a little bit over 2 years that I got my brown belt. I was a national champion in Brazil already, and you know, like state champion, and I remember that I won a qualifier to make the first Brazilian team to compete in the Pan Ams, and it was browns and blacks together. So I had, you know, some good results on that belt. I remember that I made a preliminary fight for Renzo Gracie in Valide Maio. It was a 20-minute match, so it was a good belt. I had good results on the brown belt, and it's kind of people kind of, you know, waiting for my black belt. And I still remember that Renzo was making a joke one day that I wasn't there, and a Gordo told me that Renzo made that joke. He said, "Man, what's going on with Draculino, man? You know, I mean, he's due to get his black belt, but he never comes by to receive that belt, you know." And it was because I was finishing college, and my daughter Jade was just born, so I was going to train at Gracie Barra just twice a week. And I was going to Gracie Ipanema also to help Renzo actually. And my teacher was Master Carlos, so I know Master Carlos was the one to give me the black belt. But whenever I was going there, for some reason, I don't know, Master Carlos is like, he didn't give me the belt, you know. I was just going there, and I mean, I was not getting the belt. Everybody talking, but I mean, I'm not going to ask anything, you know. I'm going to ask my black belt to somebody, you know. And anyways, one day, you know, I remember I was training. I still remember my last training as a brown belt. I trained with Bruno Severiano. Bruno Severiano is a very tough guy. He was a great competitor and a Pan-American champion at black belt. I still remember that he beat Fernando Tereré one time on the black belt. So I was training with Bruno Fernandes, who was bigger than me. And after I trained with Bruno Fernandes, he was already, I think he was a purple belt or a brown belt by the time, bigger guy than me. And I seated on the side of the mat by the wall, by the side of Master Carlos. Master Carlos used to have this chair, and he used to sit on the chair and watch the training. So I seated on his side. I was like, I was kind of tired and sweaty. It's like, man, I'm tired. And he was looking at me. Everybody who knows Master Carlos knows what I'm talking about. He looks at you. He sits like that, you know, the legs like that, you know, sits with the legs like that, and he shakes the leg like that. So he was, you know, sitting by his side just like that. And then he was like moving his feet. And he looking at me and like with a smile on the face and looking at me like that. And he kept looking at me. So I know what it means, you know, he does that kind of like, you know. And I look at him and it's like, what, master? You know, he goes like, you know what, Bichon? Bichon means like, dude, you know what, Bichon? Go ahead and put the black belt on your waist. Just like that. Out of the blue. Nobody saw, just me and him. And then all of a sudden somebody heard, I don't remember who, and like, hey man, Drac got his black belt, and people, hey, you know. Nobody hit me, you know, because in Gracie Barra the black belts never got hit with the belt, but it was pretty much that, man. You know?
That's cool.
Let me tell you, it was a tough decision, really tough. First of all, because I had a successful school in Brazil. I have to say that I had a good life. You know, I provided well for my family and all that. I had my own house, my car. My school was, you know, with a good number of students, and it wasn't like I didn't have a choice or anything like that. You know, it wasn't like that. It was just because of the fact that I felt that I needed to expand. Okay, I needed to expand in a sense that all the times that I was going every year to seminars, you know, I was changing people's lives, and I was creating actually associated students all over the world. I was feeling that my school in Brazil was already consolidated as a powerhouse, and still is. I just needed to find, you know, the timing of having somebody that could take over, and it was still going to be there. It's always going to be my school. My heart's always going to be there, but I needed to go there, you know, just to supervise eventually. And I felt the time coming. I felt the time coming. The time came, and I talked to my family. I said, look, it's time to expand. It's time for us to risk something. It's time for us to do the next step, you know. And in the beginning, all my family was like, no, Dad, you know, let's stay around here. You know, it's going to be, you know, kind of hard, and we have to begin everything again and all that. But I mean, on the bottom of my heart, I knew it was the right decision to do. And I convinced my wife, Monica, to do that, and she was also supportive with me with that. You know, I can't complain about her on this point. She was like, whatever, you know, if you say it's true, if you say that's the right thing, so we got to do it. And she had a really good job by the time also in a big company. And my kids were like completely against that. But I knew it would be the right thing. So we moved January 2008. Pretty much we came to Houston, Texas, and specifically to Clear Lake because of a tip of Brandon Mullis, who actually works for me nowadays, and Paul Thomas. They said, you know, there's a place in Houston, Clear Lake. It's kind of in the south. There's actually nobody there, and it's a good place, a big place. I think it could be a good place for you to go and set up shop. I didn't know anything about Clear Lake at all. Never heard about it. I just heard that there was NASA was here, so everybody heard about NASA. So you know, when NASA's there, it shouldn't be a bad place. So pretty much was that, and then I moved, and with a strong belief that I could do a great work here, because putting humility aside, I know that I'm good at what I do. And I knew I would be successful. And thank God I did that. I expanded tremendously after I came to the United States. Houston's right in the middle of the United States. You know, it's kind of exactly the same time to go to New York or to go to LA. And, you know, all over. So it actually to go all over the world too. You know, it's a great location. And, you know, I got great students here. It's my new home. And thank God I followed my instincts. I followed my guts. And it was the right thing to do. Now my kids love it. Now my kids don't want to go back to Brazil for nothing. My wife too. Over and under control from the back. It's I never like to answer questions saying what's the best way to do this, what's the best position to do. There is no best, there is no worst. There is situations, there are opponents, there are angles, there are timing. There's so many things involved that I really don't believe about best and worst. I believe in best and worst on each specific and individual situation. Then I believe yes. But I think that an approach that you can do for the over and under control from the back, some people call seat belt also, if I'm not mistaken, is always to try to go with your head and your body to the opposite side of the upper arm. If the arm that is over your shoulder is the right, you're going to try to have your head and your upper body going to the left. If it's the opposite way, you do the opposite thing. Because going towards the side of the top arm, you're always going to fall and you're going to be trapped by the guy's biceps. You're actually going to be going to an outlet that there's no way to escape. And you actually choke yourself out when you do that. You know? So it's always good to go against the top arm. The top arm has an opening here. Let's say I have the right arm over here and the left under, like that. Okay, so if I go that way, I'm going against the opening. This is closed here, but that's not the hand that chokes you actually. It helps on the choke, but the hand that chokes is this one. And the arm that chokes is this one. So, you know, I think it's a good way to think about that. Thanks, Mark. That's a good words. I mean, you know, like, I think I have the edge of experience on some people, and sometimes I tricky them with that. You know, I mean, I always try to have a philosophy that I never try to combat strength with strength. If somebody's stronger than me, it's a waste of time to try to be stronger than them. You know, so you know, I try to use my speed, I try to use my technique, and try to use my experience against them. It normally works.